It is based on a circus of cyborgs. Also, look at my chipped nails. Nail paint, not my chipped nails, my chipped nail paint. Hello people of the world and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're here for the first time. My name is Miss and I'm a writer, I'm a reader, I'm a science fiction and fantasy junkie, so if you're into that kind of stuff, go ahead and hit subscribe. So one thing that I've noticed for the past like couple of years is that the trend of competitions is on the rise. It probably started with the Hunger Games, which is basically like a battle royale kind of setting, and it's basically a competition. I've always noticed that books or movies with competitions tend to get a lot of traction, and starting with the Hunger Games, this trend in YA kind of just went up, and now we have so many books in not just YA but in the whole of the publishing industry which is dealing with competitions. I ended up reading a lot of books with a lot of competitions this year, 10 books in total, and I thought that in case this is a trope that you like, I could list them out here on my channel so that it is easy for you to pick something like this up. Let us start with the first book, A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. So in A Song of Wraiths and Ruin, we follow two protagonists, Malik and Karina, and Malik takes part in a competition. He basically will get to marry Karina and become a ruler alongside of her. I think that is what it is. I hope that I'm not forgetting because it's been quite a few months since I last read this book. But yeah, basically he's competing to win the hand of the queen. This is the competition setting, and the competitions, the trials are fine. They're actually pretty run-of-the-mill, and they weren't like, I wish that they were a bit more interesting, but apart from that, I think that this is a book with competition, and if you like this trope, this would be pretty cool because we do get some interaction between Malik and his other competitors, and I like how this competition added like a layer to the plot, so definitely check it out. The next book that I read was The Savior's Champion by Jenna Moreci. This is all about a competition. This is a tournament which is known as a Sovereign's Tournament. Again, it is done to win the hand of the Lady Love, who is the savior, and the savior's champion gets to become the ruler. This competition actually has plenty of pretty high stake, you win or you die kind of trials, which were super interesting to read. I genuinely liked quite a few of those trials. Some of them were kind of unnecessary, I believed, but most of them hit the mark. Most of them did make me sit at the edge of my seat. And the author is actually pretty good at writing suspense and like that ticking clock kind of thing. So I really like that. I wish that there were not some pretty random trials in the middle, some which just did not make sense. But apart from that, I think this was a pretty solid competition based book. I do have a review of The Savior's Champion down below. I think it was my second ever booktube video, so I'm probably extremely awkward in it, so don't mind that, alright? The next book is The Cyborg Tinkerer by Meglator. Again, this is a competition-based thingy. I have a review up and down. It is based on a circus of cyborgs. Also, look at my chipped nails. Nail paint, not my chipped nails, my chipped nail paint. It follows a circus of cyborgs, and they have to take part in a competition, and if they do not succeed in that competition, if they do not win the competition, they will not only be kicked out of the circus, but they also have to sacrifice their cyborg parts, which sucks because a lot of them depend on these cyborg parts for survival. So it was a pretty intense competition, but I did feel like this book did not utilize its circus setting as much. I wish that the trials had more to do with the circus aspect of it, which it did not do. Trials were pretty bloody and pretty gory. This book overall was a fine book, and if that is something that is up your alley, you should definitely pick it up. The next book is The Henna Wars by Adiba Jagirdar. So I've spoken about this book at length. I have a review as well. This book follows a kind of an entrepreneur business competition in which our main character Nishat and her love interest Flavia are kind of rivals in this competition, and Nishat sort of has this idea to set up a henna stall, and she does that, and she's really talented at it, and she wants to bring her tradition to her classmates. And Flavia is an artist, and she feels that even if it's like a traditional thing, she is an artist and she has the right to kind of adapt that into her art style. So she also sets up a henna stall, and yeah, that there is clashing and there is rivals to lovers, and that is amazing. This book is super important, so definitely check it out. The next book is More Than Just a Pretty Face by Syed M. Masood. Again, I have a review. Again, I have done so many reviews on this channel, but I have a review. I'm going to link it up and down. Basically, this guy has to give a presentation on something, and this guy being Daniel. So from every subject, a teacher chooses a representative to kind of go and compete, and this representative has to sort of present something like a presentation, and Daniel, being a terrible student, is chosen to be his history, the history representative, and he is in no way, shape or form cut out for this competition, but his teacher just wants to kind of make his life difficult, which I understand, some teachers are like that, but Daniel sort of rises to the occasion and he ends up doing a presentation on the Bengal famine, and the author not only dealt with the main character's character development really well, but also gave us a very like unfiltered look at what the Bengal famine was like. So I really like that, and this book did not lean very heavily in the competition aspect, but there was a competition and I thought that I should mention it for this video. The next book featuring a competition is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. So this book follows two protagonists, Laya and Elias, and Elias is forced to take part in this competition which chooses the next ruler of the realm. The competition is brutal, man. It is so brutal. It tests the person in different aspects. So it'll test your physical and mental capabilities. It'll test your fears, your mental health, everything, right? And it's super intense. There are some competitions that really like, there are not too many trials, okay? So there are some books which put in too many trials, so some of them end up being redundant, but here the number was limited and the effect was very high and impactful. I really liked it. I really liked the one in which they kind of go and they have to face their worst fears or something like that, and Elias ends up seeing stuff which really messes him up, and I like that. I like it. I really enjoyed the tournament in this book. The next book which featured a competition was Star Daughter by Shweta Thakrar. In Star Daughter, our main protagonist finds out that she is half star. She kind of knows that she is half star, and she has to save her father, so she goes to the night court, which is in the sky, with her friend, and there she finds out that all the nakshatras, all the kind of star families, the big houses of stars, are having a competition, and she is supposed to represent her nakshatra without any preparations whatsoever. But she is a really good singer, so it's basically like a talent contest, and this talent contest decides which nakshatra sort of comes out on top and decides which one holds more power. So our protagonist now has to learn how to kind of get over her fear of performing in front of so many people, and she practices and she plays an instrument. I've forgotten exactly which instrument she picks for her competition, but she does, and she has a beautiful voice. And yeah, that is the competition aspect of this book. There is of course a lot that happens, and it's a nice whimsical read, as I always say. It's really nice for some escapism, so definitely check this book out. Next book is You Should See Me in Crown by Leah Johnson. This book again features a competition in which Liz Lighty, our protagonist, is competing for the crown of prom queen, which is kind of difficult because every single prom queen so far has been rich and white, and the neighborhood she lives in is rich and white, and she is neither rich nor is she white. So that is definitely like a little roadblock. And then of course the fact that her rival, I've forgotten her name because it's just been so long, but her rival, one of her rivals, she falls in love with one of her rivals. So it's sapphic romance, and she's trying to get into a college of her choice, and in order to do that she needs to become prom queen. So yeah, it follows the epic ups and downs of high school prom queen competitions. So it was definitely a very powerful read, so I would 100% recommend this book to you. The next book that I read was I have a review which I'm going to link. This book was fine. This book was alright. It was a 3-star rating for me, which is not very good but not very bad either. I did enjoy certain aspects of this book because after all it is a Hunger Games, right? So there is a competition in it. We do not, however, spend too much time in this competition, and we see the competition from outside. So even though we have the usual like Hunger Games lead up, and we have the usual like trying to outsmart the others in the beginning of the Hunger Games, like pre-Hunger Games, we get very little of the Hunger Games itself. But I did feel that it was worth mentioning because it was a book and it did feature a competition. And finally, number 10, Raybearer by Jordan Ifueko. So this book is a bit of a stretch to call it a competition, like a book with a competition, but there was like a small hint of competition in this book, because in order to get selected into like the council of the king, our main character Tarisai had to go through like, she had to get selected for it, and she had to kind of at the top of all these other kids who were also trying to get onto the council. But that being said, this competition does not play a very big role in the central conflict of the plot, because you know, based on a lot of things, you kind of know that she's gonna make it. So it's less of the competition and the external conflicts and more about internal conflicts. But again, it's a book and it has competition, and I thought that it's worth mentioning. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you've read any books featuring competitions, or something that at the top of my head I can think of, Throne of Glass. I haven't read that book, so therefore it's not on the list, but I do know that it features a competition. I am planning to read it. So if there are any other books that you know of which feature competitions, let me know. Give this video a like, and make sure that you subscribe to my channel. If you don't follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or my blog, all links are down below, so you can follow me there. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. Bye.